if you only care about gameplay, if that's what you give a shit about, I'm probably gonna be taking like 30 minutes, and responding to like the Seagull video. Not necessarily responding, but more like giving my thoughts and my viewpoint on some of the stuff he brings up. Just because I feel like it's kind of important with how like the game is as a whole and how the scene is. And I feel like I'm one of the few people who have like kind of a different viewpoint than, oh, Bridge is shit, everything sucks, game's not fun. I feel like I'm one of the people who doesn't feel like that, and I'm not sure if the majority do or not, but I kind of just want to get my thoughts out there too. So let's go find the video. Let me go find it real quick, and I'm gonna pull it up and then pause it at points where I wanted to talk about shit, and it should be fun. So if you don't care about any of this shit, then feel free to the actual gameplay after. But this is something I've been kind of wanting to do. So Hog got buffed. Game is good again. I mean, even before the Hog, obviously the Hog buffs rekindled like how much fun I was having. But even before the Hog buffs came out, I was still enjoying the game. There were still memes where things were shitty, but you know, Zarya and stuff was fun. I enjoyed playing Zarya and Hammond and everything. So I think it's not that just Hog's buff, and this is me coming from a perspective where, oh, my hero's good, so the game is fun now. It's not coming like that at all. So let's see how this goes. I'm not gonna this isn't a flame rating either at all. Like, Seagull messaged me before he released this video, talking about how he had a video he wanted to put out and asking my thoughts on it. And I think it's a great video. I think the video generated a shit ton of discussion, and it got like people's opinions and everything, which is what it should have done. So here's my opinion. Let's see.
I want to talk about Overwatch, state of Overwatch, what it's like to play.
All right,
and I just have a simple question for anyone who's clicked on this video. Am I the only one who finds Overwatch to be really frustrating these days? I personally cannot remember the last time I logged off of Overwatch, not because it was late at night or I had to go run errands or anything like that. It was just because I get really frustrated at the game, or maybe I just had a really tilting game and ranked. And I don't know, I love this game. Don't get me wrong. I'm a professional player.
It's a good game.
I stream this game all the
time. Louder?
I have played this game.
Is it not loud enough?
Thousands upon thousands of hours. But there is just one very consistent trend in my Overwatch experience. Good games are really good, and bad games are really bad.
Right there, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that point. I think it's people in a mentality where if they don't win, they don't have fun. And I think that's a shitty mentality to have. Like, I've had plenty of games where I've lost super close ones or games like that and still had plenty of enjoyment from it. I've had plenty of games where it's like, damn, we could have won that, but it was still a pretty fucking good game. Now, I'm not saying that you don't get games that are bad, where you get trolls and stuff, and that suck. Those definitely do happen, but I'll touch on that later. But I've had plenty of games where I've lost and been like, you know what? That was still a fun game. I still had fun there. And I can't say that's all on a game thing. I think that's like a people's mentality thing. People are so like willing to just like get upset, or if the game starts going bad and they start losing, then the players themselves are getting at each other's throats and blaming each other and making it a worse experience. I don't think that's inherently a problem with the game itself. That's something with the player base and how people react to losing. Again, not in all cases, I'm saying either. There's definitely games that have trolls and throwers and that fucking suck. Those games happen, but I just because you lose a game, I don't think inherently makes it unfun. And I've had plenty of losses where I've still enjoyed them and still had fun from them.
And I think this is the fundamental.
And this is also coming from my perspective as a GM player, which from Seagull, he's also a GM player, so his perspective is similar to mine. I'm not trying to speak for like gold players or plat players. I can't speak for how your guys' experience in the games are. Maybe you guys do get shitty players in your games and they do suck more often. I can't say that. I haven't played in gold. I'm just saying how it is from my experience at like GM level.
Issue behind Overwatch currently. We need to figure out a way to normalize the experience a little bit more, so that way when I click on the Overwatch rank button, I don't have to have a coin flip on whether or not I'm going to have fun. And this is coming from a person who's a professional streamer or for a pro player, right? I can't imagine what the average player looks like, who only has like a couple hours a day to play this game.
Let me pause this one more time again. Let me say also, just because I have a different opinion of this, doesn't mean that I think the points Seagull's bringing up are bad or wrong or anything. Like, I think his is actually the more common opinion. If you see, like, what people said in responses, all the comments and shit, I feel like I am in the minority for how I feel, but maybe that's not the case. Who knows?
Do they even want to do that coin flip anymore, or do they just want to go load up an MMO or Battle Royale or some other game? Because personally, I'm kind of exhausted about it. I'm a little bit burned out. And I think there's a few design points of Overwatch that make me feel this way. And I kind of want to talk about
I have already all watched this entire video too.
What I want to talk about is the
This isn't my first time watching it.
Hard counters at Overwatch. You know, just a few examples. Let's say you're...
So the hard counterpoint he brings up where, like, heroes like Bridget are hard counters and they make the game less fun, I do agree to an extent on all of that idea. I think that hard counters like Brig aren't super great for the game, but I think with the nerfs Blizzard has coming for her, I think she's going to be in a fine spot. Like, I think it's unacceptable the fact that Blizzard leaves heroes in overpowered states for so long, but... I mean, as a whole, if you look at where the game's at now compared to on release in terms of balance, if Blizzard would have never touched the game when it came out, it would be in so much of a worse state than it is now, purely because of how metas develop and how people figure out what's good and what's not. Like, the changes Blizzards have been making, I think most of them have been pretty good recently. Obviously, they're not all perfect, but...
So McCree wants to flashbang the Reinhardt, right?
All right. This whole conversation...
Or how about... You know, another example of good counterplay in Overwatch would just be Ana versus Winston, right? The Winston's Q.
His counterplay points that bring up, I understand. I agree with some of them.
In the gameplay, right, where we have this system of, you know, they do this and I can do this. And we went from that to almost like a rock, paper, scissors. Like, I have a spreadsheet open of the counters. I pick this, therefore I win, right? Like, here's a couple examples. Like, if there is a high masters / GM Brigida on the other team, and you're a professional level Overwatch League Tracer player, you're probably going to swap, or else you're kind of throwing.
Not that. If you're against like a masters or GM Bridget, and you're like Architect or Sinatra or something, you're still going to find ways to farm as Tracer. Like, really, I've always said on stream, really good Tracers, Owl level Tracers are the only ones who can make it work still, I think. I do think Tracer's not in a great spot versus Bridget, but Owl-level Tracers can definitely make her work still and have a good impact.
And it's not...
Like,
you could dodge all
there's no denying it. I've seen Architect and Sinatra and others do some insane shit with Briggs in the game.
All this stuff, but the nature of it is, just by that Brigida existing, her passive armor that she gives via her heal, her passive aura health, how tanky she is, just the threat and the nuisance that she can zone you out, she counters you just by existing. And, you know, on the other side of that, let's look at before Brigida was added into the game for high-level players. If you didn't have a Tracer at a high level, you lost. That's why we had dive meta for a year and a half, right? And so we sort of have always had this problem in Overwatch, but maybe it's just a bit more prevalent today. And so I would like to compare that scenario to what I consider the best interaction in Overwatch, which is Pharah versus Hitscan. Like, let's say there's a Pharah on the other team. You have so many options, right? You have...
I do agree with some of these points he brings up. I don't think they're near as big as he makes it sound like. But some of these points he brings up here are I do completely agree with also.
Widowmaker. There's a for that sort of to be the heart and soul of Overwatch in a lot of ways, where that's the depth of the game to me. And when you start implementing these hard counters into the game, it removes that nuance, and it really degenerates the game into, I pick this, therefore you have to swap or I win. And it really isn't.
I really don't think it's like that.
And I don't want to.
I think he oversimplifies it so much to try and get his point across that, like, when Bridge or something's in the game, if you don't go it, you will lose. Like, if it was to the point where if you switch Brig, it was a guaranteed win, then Blizzard would have 100% done something by now. As good and as annoying as Bridget is, she's not a guaranteed win. I wouldn't even say she's like a huge advantage to helping you win. She's a good hero, There's no denying that. She's definitely fucking a bit OP and she's getting nerfed already. But she is not a free win like people try and make it sound like she is.
Do that. I want to play Overwatch, right? And, you know,
she's
this
an
is
insane
a,
hero?
This video's about, well,
I mean, yes, she is good, but you can win so many games without her. Like, now if you're running the goats and the goats, then yeah, she's kind of needed there, but that's again only if you're doing goats and the goats. And there are other things you can run into that.
Let's go one step further beyond just the gameplay, right?
Let's go beyond the gameplay. This is where I think our opinions differ
for a
some.
ladder experience. Well, let's put it this way: if my teammate picks a hero that I think is hard countered by one on the other team, suddenly I feel powerless. I feel that we're going to lose no matter what we do because we're at a severe disadvantage even before we even get to play the game. I'm no longer looking at the gameplay. I'm just looking at what heroes my team are picking and choosing.
I think right there, that's a mentality thing. And that's something that that's his opinion on it, but I think a lot of people feel differently, or like everyone's gonna feel differently about it. Like if I see like we have like a Symmetra or a Torb or some weird shit on our team, you know, I'll be hesitant at first and I'll be like, ooh, but normally I trust that if they're picking that and they're not just like straight trolling, then they're probably picking it because they're pretty good at that hero and they think it's going to give their team an opportunity to win. I think people are way too, like, the second they see something that's not meta, they're way too willing to, like, get upset. And that's on more, like, the player base again than the game itself. Like, people are so willing to, like, try and find reasons to blame teammates and blame each other instead of trying to actually work with off-meta picks or work together. And it reminds me of, like, Symmetra I had, like, a week ago, where we were, like, on attack, and I asked her, like, hey, you got any plans for the teleporter here? And she instantly got, like, super defensive. And I imagine she's probably like that because she's so used to people giving her shit for playing off-meta heroes, when all I was trying to do was figure out a strategy with it. So, in one way, I can understand, like, sim mains and stuff being jaded, but the community does treat off-meta stuff, like, way worse than they should.
Like, let's say we have a Tracer and they swap to Brigitte. Now I'm going to stare at my Tracer and be like, hey, can you swap or otherwise we're going to lose? And that's just how it is. It promotes toxicity towards your teammates because it makes you feel powerless. And that powerlessness makes you feel frustrated. And that frustration is pointed towards the people who are on your side. And I feel like I have to, a lot of the time, just fill out this checklist of, hey, do we have a hero composition that is viable at all towards the enemy's counters? Yes or no, and I have to go in like this in this little form. And
I mean, Overwatch was always kind of like this. Like, the point, like, I don't know if it's nostalgia glasses or what, like, but back when, like, Beyblade was a meta, like Reaper Anna, if you didn't have it like yourself, you were gonna lose. Or, like, there's been plenty of metas in the past where it's been like that. This is not, like, a recent thing since Bridge has been added. Like, of the whole, if we're not on the right comp, we're gonna lose. Like, that's how the game's always been, I think.
Finally fill it out and we click all the boxes, then we finally get to the gameplay aspect, right? We finally get to,
and I think that's part of the game. Like, coming up with a good team composition, I think is
beyond just simple hero interaction.
I think it's kind of fun. I think it's
meta,
you know, theory crafting,
deathball meta, right? Triple tank, triple support, otherwise known as goats. Let's say the other team goes triple tank, triple support. You don't mirror, you don't have a Somber Doomfist. GG, it's over.
No,
because it's just how the meta is right now for solo queue. And, well, obviously it's not every game, but I would say the vast majority of the time you will lose. But, you know, having a severe disadvantage on hero select, that's not a fun or deep gameplay to me. That's just frustrating. And it's exacerbated by another aspect of the game, which is no stats. Let's say one of my teammates picks one of those.
This party brings up about stats. I see his argument about how if you're like on an off-meta hero and you have good stats, how, you know, it would be nice for people to be able to see that. But I think Blizzard's argument that stats promote toxicity, with how the Overwatch community has, like, shown itself, is definitely true. If they were to add, like, a kill-death thing in the game, I do not think it would be good for the game. As much as I wish it had that, with how the community is, there would be so many people flaming each other for having mediocre stats in a game or giving each other shit. And there's more to Overwatch than just stats, than just how much damage you're doing, how much golds you are. There's way more to it than that. But I think with stats, you'd see more people just getting at each other's throats than they do now. I'm disagreeing just for the sake of disagreeing. I'm not. These points, like, especially with how much of the community is like seem to be in the same mindset that the game's in a terrible spot and that everything's not fun. Like it's weird to me to see that so much. And again, this isn't just because Hog got buffed recently and I'm having fun with it. This is these points that he's bringing up are ones that I just don't agree with. And
those hard counter heroes, right?
I mean, you could say he's making these points just for the sake that he's not having fun.
Performing well or not, but I know typically they wouldn't. And it's not like I have access to a scoreboard to see if they are performing well. So of course, even they could be even performing well, and I'm probably going to blame them.
He explains his position on stage in the video with him, James Schiffer. Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Someone picks a slightly off meta hero, and they get blamed for it, even though they're performing well.
It seemed like there's very little opposition. Well, this is one of the reasons I did talk about it, because I feel like I am one of the few people who is opposed to his points. And I promise you, I'm not just bringing up this to be like, oh, look at me, I'm different than everyone else. The game doesn't suck. I promise that's not the case. If I didn't feel these ways about the points, I wouldn't fucking do this. Like, if I didn't actually feel this way and disagree with some of this, why would I waste my time doing this shit?
Well, because you don't have enough information. We're all a little bit blind, and the only way to know a lot of the time is to play the game.
Maybe I should just do this with Sieg or something, because honestly I would have a discussion with him about this. I talked with him on Discord about it, about some of the points.
Come down to this counterplay issue, this hard counter issue that I think make talk.
Right, you know what? Fuck it. You know what? If everyone's ranting, everyone gets to do their rants. Let me do my rant here. Let me have my little rant here, and this might be weird for me to say. This might be like a point that no one else agrees with, but it's how I feel, and I feel like, fuck it, it's worth me bringing up. I feel like the fact that so much of this is not firing shots or being toxic or anything at anyone. Let me preface this by saying that. It really is not. I promise it is not. But the fact that so much of the community, I think, looks up to players like Dafran and XQC, I think isn't necessarily a good thing. And let me say, and I mean that in the way that people see Dafran and XQC trolling games, more Dafran in the trolling aspect, but XQC in like the raging at teammates aspect, the being a dick to teammates, like yelling at teammates for shit like that. I think younger players see that and they try and emulate that in their games. And you see people just being loud as shit on the mic, being like, if someone starts playing bad, instantly being at their throats. I think as streamers, we should be trying to set a somewhat better example for how the community should act in their games. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that shit can be funny. I think XQC yelling at his teammates can be funny. I think Dafran doing weird Torb shit in Spawn can be funny. But, again, people will watch that and will want to emulate that and be like, oh, XQC did it. Look at me. I'm an XQC fan. Or, oh, Dafran's playing Torb in Spawn. I can do that too. And I think they should want to hold themselves to higher standards, but I can understand from like their viewer base or from, you know, other reasons why they are. And obviously that's just how they are also. Like that's their personality. So I'm not saying like, hey, don't be the way that you are, but it doesn't reflect that well on the community when you see so many people like wanting to emulate some of that stuff, and then you see it in your ranked games, people doing the exact same shit. And I've seen it so often in GM level, and it's kind of annoying. And I think part of it is more on the player base and more on us as streamers and us as a community than the game itself. I think people like to blame the game itself. People like to say, oh, it's just Overwatch being shit. Bridge is just terrible. I think people like to think it's just the game's fault, but ultimately, and you know, there are issues with the game. I'm not saying it's all the game. I'm just saying, from my point of view, I think certain streamers and community members could be handling it better and in trying to actually improve the game experience and improve it for everyone than just themselves having a good time and themselves like making memes and shit on streams. And that might, again, I really did not mean that as firing shots. And I might sound like an idiot even saying half of this stuff, but it's kind of just how I felt about it. And maybe I am wrong, but I kind of had to just throw that out there.
In a solo queue environment, and it just makes the game a little bit too frustrating. And this frustration...
Here, I mean, how do you guys feel? Like, and I'm not... It feels shitty bringing it up, even, because, again, I think XQC is funny. I think Dafran, when he's not throwing and his mental state is good, he's one of the best players in the game, and he's really funny. But the way they act on stream does not set a good example for other players to follow. And whether they like it or not, players will follow their example. Players will see a streamer do something, and they'll be like, oh, wow, that's funny. This guy I enjoy watching for hours a day does this. I'm going to do this too. I'm going to treat other people like this too. And
that I find isn't just in...
And I probably sound like a pretentious asshole saying this also. And I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means. I know I can be a jerk to people sometimes. I wish I didn't act the way I do sometimes.
The design of the heroes.
I do legitimately think I try and...
Well,
the games I'm in,
Ash, but Ash hasn't hit ranks.
Have like enjoyable experiences for everyone. I care about my teammates having fun too when I play. I care about the experience for everyone in it being enjoyable and winning, of course. My SR is fucking great. I care about winning, but I'm not going to be a dick to someone else for the sake of being a dick just because they're having a bad game. Or I'm not going to think someone's throwing instantly just because they missed a shot or because they missed their ult. I'm not going to report someone for missing a fucking ult. That's ridiculous. Okay, this got way more ranty than I wanted to be. I'm gonna play more Overwatch. This was weird for me to do. I need to play the game. Jesus Christ, man.